So it is also possible to set the value of a private variable using a constructor, or let's say using a parameterized constructor. How? Just you can do all the things that we have done in our setter function. You can do that inside a parameterized constructor. So let us have a look at the setter function that we have done before. So in here, so just look at this setter function over here. So inside the setter function, we have passed an integer value which is called user passed value of var, and then we have just simply set the value of this var variable with this user passed value of var. So the same thing you can do actually inside a parameterized constructor also, and that is another alternative way to set the value of any variable. So let's do the example over here. Let me write it down over here. So so the first thing that we have done using a set variable, it used to look like, let's say this is my class, then the name of the class was just another class, and inside this another class there was a void, there was a variable of type integer, and let me just write it down clearly. So it should be integer, then var, and then there was a function called void, then simply set var, and there was int user var. That means the value passed by the user. And then inside this void function, we just did var equals user var, something like this. It was the setter way of setting the value of a private variable in a class. And well, this variable was basically uh, private, not public. So this was one way using the set variable setter function. Now the same thing you can do using a parameterized constructor. So in that case, what you need to do is just create the class once again. So class, another class over here, just the same thing that I have done in here and also in the previous slide. And then instead of and then well, first create the private variable, let's say private int var, and after that you have to write the parameterized constructor. Now a constructor does not have a return type, and the constructor function name is same as that of the class. So let us write down the constructor. Let's call it another class, and then it should be a parameterized constructor because you want to set the user passed value. Just like this set var has a parameter over here, just to pass the parameter called, let's say this int, then user var over here, something like this. And then exactly same as that set var, just since it is constructor does not have any return type, and the name is same as this another class, the class name. And finally just set the value of the user var, value of the this private variable, which is going to be just like this is var equals user var. And that is it. This way you can actually set the value of a private variable using a parameterized constructor. And now just as a tip, you can use a parameterized constructor with many different variables as a parameter, many different parameters. You can set many different value of many different private variables. So for example, let's say your class has like 10 different variables over here. Say var 0, var 1, var 2, and in this way you have until var 9. So 10 different private int variable. Okay, so this is inside your class. And then what you can do in order to set them, one way is of course use a set var 0, set var 1, set var 2, set var 3, all the functions. And another way of setting the value is everything pass inside the parameterized constructor. So this will be another class which is the parameter name, and here you can pass all the value int user var 0, int user var 1, and in this way you can pass like until int user var 9, and finally you can set like var 0 equals user var 0, var 1 equals user var 1, and like this. So this is another alternative way and very popular way to set the value of any variable in a class. The actual code is left as an exercise. I have given a description over here, so you can just follow the description, or you can just write this portion of code in your another class here, and then just then just create an object of another class from main function, that is and just try to set the value and try to get the value from there.